Here at Public Service Reports USA, we're always looking for models of success, things that are just plain working. And today, we've got a fantastic one. It's a quiet story, one that's been unfolding for 150 years, and it's a powerful example of what happens when generations of people work together. It's the story of a long relay, and it's about saving a crucial piece of our nation's history.
Okay, so let's start with a question I'm sure you've heard before. It's this idea that countless veterans who served our country are now just forgotten, their final resting places totally lost to time. And that's a really unsettling thought, right? It's a narrative that's become pretty common. But what if it's not the whole story? What if it's not even close?
The source material for today's explainer just puts it perfectly. This idea that we have a sudden crisis of lost graves, it suffers from chronological myopia. It's a fancy way of saying we've got historical short-sightedness. We're only looking at the problem from right now, today. And when we do that, we're missing the bigger and honestly way more inspiring picture.
So here's the big reframe. This isn't a story about some massive empty void of information that we're desperately trying to fill. No, the reality is so much more interesting. It's a story about a relay race, a continuous effort, passed like a baton from one generation to the next for over a century and a half. And to really understand this race, we have to go back to the very beginning. We've got to meet the first runners who grabbed that baton right in the aftermath of the Civil War. Let's talk about the Grand Army of the Republic. What's so amazing about this is just how practical it all was. The GAR, founded for Union vets, they started Decoration Day, which we now call Memorial Day, way back in 1868. And their logic was just dead simple. Hey, you can't decorate a grave if you don't know where it is. So at every single local post, they created these super detailed burial ledgers, writing down where their friends and comrades were laid to rest. This wasn't some high-tech project. We're talking pen, paper, and a whole lot of dedication. And that data they collected, it is the literal foundation that our modern Civil War databases are built on today. Now, obviously, the GAR couldn't run forever. As the last of the Civil War veterans passed on, you'd think the race might have ended right there. But it didn't. The baton was passed. New groups stepped up, driven by that same incredible sense of duty. And this timeline just shows you the incredible scale of this thing. The GAR kicks it off in 1866. Then, just a couple decades later, you've got lineage societies like the Daughters and Sons of the American Revolution jumping in. And then, get this, a full century later, the digital players like Find a Grave and BillionGraves join the race. It's this amazing, unbroken chain of remembrance. These lineage societies, they were driven by something the source material calls an ancestral obligation. See, the GAR guys, they knew the men they were burying. For the DAR and SAR, these were ancestors from the Revolutionary War, people separated by generations. They saw it as their mission to find and mark those graves before they vanished forever, and they launched these massive projects that are still going strong today. All right, let's fast forward to the modern era. The internet and the smartphone, they didn't start this race, but man, did they supercharge it. A whole new team of runners joined the relay. We're talking millions of volunteers, armed with powerful new technology right in their pockets. And this is such a critical point. The old guard and the new guard, they aren't competing with each other. They're partners. It's a symbiotic relationship. The lineage societies, they provide the historical verification. They do the hard, deep dive research to prove someone's military service. And the crowdsourcing apps, they provide the modern discovery. They let anybody with a phone find the physical headstone. One proves the history, the other finds the location. It's perfect teamwork. And the scale of this new digital leg of the race, it's just mind-boggling. Over 250 million memorials cataloged by volunteers on just one platform alone. That is the incredible power of crowdsourcing. It's adding this immense volume and accessibility to that historical foundation built over the last 100 years. Okay, so we've been using this relay race idea to think about the timeline. But to really understand the data itself, we need a new metaphor. Let's shift from a race to assembling a beautiful, really complex mosaic. So here's the myth that trips everybody up, the idea of a data void. We kind of assume there should be one single giant official government database, probably at the VA, that has every single veteran's burial record. And when we find out that doesn't exist, we assume the information must be lost. But the reality is actually a data mosaic. The records were never lost, they've been carefully preserved this whole time, but they're scattered across a bunch of different systems, like individual tiles. You've got VA records over here, lineage society archives over there, old church ledgers, and now these massive digital photo databases. The info's all there.
And this table just lays it out perfectly. Check this out. If a veteran's in a national cemetery, yeah, they're visible pretty much everywhere. But what about a veteran buried in a private cemetery before 1997? The searchable VA database goes dark. They've only got paper records from back then. But look what happens. The society and app databases light right up. That is their sweet spot. The tiles of the mosaic fill in the gaps for each other. It's a perfect handoff.
So this is the big takeaway, right here. The great challenge for our generation was never really about discovering lost information from scratch. It's about assembly. It's about taking all these scattered, carefully preserved tiles and digitally stitching them together to finally see the whole beautiful picture.
And that gets to the real heart of why we wanted to tell you this story today. This 150-year project isn't just a cool piece of history. It's a powerful, successful blueprint for collaboration that we can all learn from. It's a model for getting things done. You can really boil this amazing model down to 3 simple steps. First, you've got to have that rigorous, painstaking preservation of historical records, like the GAR and the Lineage Societies did. Step 2, you empower the public to participate using new, easy-to-use technology, like those smartphone apps. And finally, Step 3, you have the weavers, the people who connect the old data with the new, the ones who actually assemble the final picture. And that's really what we want to leave you with. This long relay, it's a huge success story. It shows what's possible when you connect the meticulous dedication of past generations with the incredible democratizing power of modern tech. And it really makes you wonder, what other great challenges out there are just waiting for their own relay race? What other beautiful mosaics are just waiting for us to assemble them?